So, this is Chris Arnone, the Bearded Gamer, and I'm here with one of my best friends on the planet. That is Matt Ashbaugh, Matt of Steel. Say hello, buddy.
Hello, buddy.
So this is the first in what will hopefully be a weekly podcast slash live stream. And so the whole point is we're going to talk about awesome things in video games right now, and of course have some cool gameplay going on. Sometimes we'll talk about it, sometimes we won't. It's just, to give you something to look at while we're talking about all this awesome gaming stuff. So Matt, what are you playing right now?
Actually, I was a little bit OD'd on games after going to E3, so I've kind of been detoxing with a little bit of Cave Story Plus.
Yeah, I've been playing, Diablo 3. This is some gameplay of mine recorded earlier. Still trying to get the whole live stream thing worked out right. So recording this last night and playing it back is using a little less horsepower and bandwidth. But I also, for GameReview.com, doing the review for Max Payne 3, which came out on the same day as Diablo 3. But that's almost completely written. It's been crazy busy recently, but that's what I've been playing. So, you're talking to E3. What surprised you the most at E3?
Surprised me the most? How little everybody brought it. It was basically the safest E3 in the world.
Yeah. So the only thing that kind of surprised me at all was Quantic Dream's game. Like, we knew they were going to announce something, but we didn't know what.
Yeah. We knew it was coming, but exactly what form it would take was a little bit surprising. And while what they showed was not the most amazing, that's what.
Cutting out there, man.
That's a little bit out video.
You still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Sounds better. So yeah, you're talking Quantic Dream.
Yeah. Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellen Page Simulator.
I don't know, man. I think she's a little young for us. Maybe she just looks young.
Yeah, they younged her up a bit. Of course, you're supposed to be playing through many stages of her young life, so that part kind of is interesting. It's it's taking that concept of Heavy Rain, playing through a narrative, but watching one character grow through like a decade of life.
Yeah, I thought that looked really neat. I'm a big fan of Heavy Rain, so I was very much looking forward to what Quantic Dream was wanting to crank out. So I thought Sony started and ended really well. I think The Last of Us looks really awesome. Sort of, The Walking Dead meets The Road. And definitely dig on that. So I did a big show, like 36-minute show the other day about who I thought won E3. Who do you think won E3 out of the big three?
Out of the big three?
Yeah.
Out of the big three, it has to be Sony. But honestly, my pick for winner is Ubisoft.
Really?
They showed up at every single conference, and they brought pretty much the most interesting thing every time. And they're the ones that are supporting the Wii U with the best stuff, and they're the ones that are bringing some of the more interesting things to all the consoles. And, outside of a few nuggets of gold here or there, I think they're the ones that are coming strongest out of this E3.
Well, that's really cool. Personally, for me, at first I started dividing it up, and I said, well, for the core gamer, Sony won. Which, for most of our viewership, most of the people who really go after this kind of news, that's all they care about. For the casual gamer, I thought Nintendo really drove it home with like the new Wii Fit, Wii Fit U, and a lot of other things they were doing. And I think that the Wii U and the tablet controller is really going to speak to that casual gamer. And
it's
then
like a perfect bridging device between what we're seeing with the casuals gravitating towards the iPads and the other touch tablet devices, and the more core gamer with their love of sticks and buttons.
Yeah. And of course, the Pro Controller was no surprise. I said that last year.
I'm just glad it exists. I'm glad it's not attached to a stupid Wiimote like the classic controller was.
Well, it's just
free and clear.
Last year when they announced it, they showed this sort of snippets of all these current-gen games. And if you're showing stuff like Call of Duty and whatnot, you have got to have a basic controller with 2 sticks, a D-pad, 4 shoulder buttons, 4 face buttons. Period.
Yeah.
There is no way you're doing Call of Duty and grabbing any market share if you don't have that.
Yeah, and Smash Brothers fans have got to be happy with having some kind of a standardized controller, since there will be no GameCube controller support on the new console. They're not going to want to play it with a tablet or a sideways Wiimote at all, so those kind of fans are definitely going to be happy with it.
Absolutely. And but then for everybody else, for the non-gamer, like my girlfriend, who does not play games at all, I think 360 took it. I think Microsoft really went there. Like I showed her the Nike Plus game, and she was really interested in that because it's bridging that gap. It's crossing over out of gaming into something that she already uses.
That's really what Microsoft does best, I think, is they take, even though people accuse them of stealing, you know, Pablo Picasso was famous for saying that, you know, a good artist borrows, a great artist steals. They take the concepts that other people innovate and they take it the next step into something that everybody has to have. You know, they have some of the easier interfaces, things that are not scary to people that, you know, are not that technically savvy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always seen Microsoft that they see a good idea and they go, it's not bad. We can do it better. And that actually segues into something I feel very strongly about after this. I think with Smart Glass, Microsoft stole Nintendo's thunder. Big time.
I think of it in a different way. I think they added ammo to Nintendo. With things like Smart Glass and things like Sony announcing how the Vita could possibly be an additional controller for the PS3, third parties now have no barrier to being able to port over those kind of control schemes over to the Wii U's new gamepad controller. If you're already developing something for Smart Glass, and you're already developing something to possibly have some Vita cross-platform play mechanics, there's no reason not to do it. It's the same thing. It's a touch screen with buttons.
I think the problem is, though, the Wii U is not really next-gen. At least from what we've seen so far. We still have no solid hardware numbers. Did you see any there?
No, it's Nintendo's bag. They like to keep it close to the vest. They really take that whole, we're not going to tell you our secrets until it's right around the corner to heart.
So still thinking this is a current-gen console, basically the last entrant of the 7th generation. And if Sony can use the existing Vita as a controller, and Xbox is bringing Smart Glass, why would you go buy a Wii U?
Well, you buy, the same reason you buy any Nintendo property is to get those Nintendo exclusive things that everybody loves and what keeps them in business.
Very true.
The question is, will Nintendo be smart enough to profit from that by doing the things that everybody's been asking them to do? But I will say that I had heard plenty from people on the show floor, developers that I talked to, that the Wii U is by far one of the easier consoles to program for. Part of what hurt the PS3 is it's a powerhouse, there's no question, but many developers did not have the tool set or skill set to be able to unlock that power.
Yeah, it took them years to get over that.
And it sounds like it's even easier to program for the Wii U than for the Xbox, which has been famous for being extremely easy to put things on. So maybe, hopefully Nintendo isn't out just because they're coming out technically late to the party.
You know, what really drove it home for me with Smart Glass was they were talking in the presentation, Microsoft's presentation, about using the iPhone you already own, using the tablet you already own. And I think that's the brilliant move there, is they saw the Wii U and they said, okay, so here's an expensive piece of hardware. So you go buy the Wii U and it'll come with one tablet. That's kind of the going notion that everybody thinks it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then you could buy at least one more. You know, we did see a video during the Nintendo presentation of 2 people using them. I don't remember which game
promise
it was.
They will eventually have those kind of experiences. They didn't totally go into this, but we have heard that some developers said that at this point in time, if you tried to use 2 tablets at the same time, both streaming information, it would drop the frame rate down to 30 at best. 30 frames a second at best. So there's probably something going on, and hopefully Nintendo will sort that out, because, you know, nobody likes to be the odd man out. If you and a friend are playing and you're basically playing sideways Wiimote when he gets a schnazzy tablet.
Right. I feel at a disadvantage here.
Kind of like the gaming bitch deep.
Yeah, they're like, what was that? The thing they showed with like the ghost that was kind of in Luigi's Mansion. It was a mini game. I think was it for Nintendo Land?
Yeah.
And there's
I
like one person gets to be the
played
ghost.
every single one of those games that they had available.
So one person gets to be the ghost, and up to 4 other people can be other people. You know, everyone's going to be the ghost.
Pac-Man.
Everyone will want to be the ghost.
Yeah. You either want to be the ghost, or you have a 4-man squad, because the only way that anybody beat the ghost is when all of us joined forces and were smart about it. The ghost is invisible, quick, too powerful, one hit, and you're out. And it takes practically your entire flashlight's battery to revive somebody, and the entire time your entire back is exposed to the ghost. So, once he has 2 people out...
Pre-alpha, a lot of this could still undergo some balancing and tweaking. So,
hopefully, I mean, it is, you know, most likely coming out in November. That's typically when Nintendo launches their consoles. I understand why they hold on to their, you know, their full-on release date, retail price, all that stuff. They always hold that till TGS. They are a Japanese company, after all. So they're going to hold it till they're sitting in their motherland. But, I mean, the Nintendo Land stuff was fun. But... Or was for the Wii.
More hidden footprints. This is one of the cultist lairs.
But,
they're casting part of the illusion.
I'll be curious to see what happens. You know, I do worry about the Wii U. Yeah, it's going to have some first-party content, finally in HD. And maybe what they're banking on is that people who are really huge fans of Nintendo haven't cared as much about HD. But personally, I've always thought that was sort of a situation of the lady doth protest too much. You know, the hardcore Nintendo fans are like, oh, graphics don't mean that much, we don't need HD. Or it was really just HD envy, you know.
Well, it's true. I mean, you take a couple seconds and you go look at the top SNES list of, you know, any of them, and they will constantly comment on how beautiful the game is and how wonderfully powerful the Super Nintendo sound chip system was, which made it preferable for both games versus the Sega Genesis. These are the same people that are currently saying that technology and power doesn't matter. But also turn around and say their version of Street Fighter was better.
Yeah. I think the other possibility we could see with the Wii U is we could really see the PS3 put at a severe disadvantage. Because with Kinect, as much as many gamers sort of loathe Kinect, it's brought some really cool additional stuff to certain games. Like if you're picking between the PS3 and the 360 version, like say Mass Effect 3, and it's got Kinect. I love that feature. And, you know, they're doing this with more and more and more games, and so I think it'll sway people over. And I think this has been really smart on Microsoft's part, is instead of paying out the ass to get exclusivity, just add additional features. And now with the Wii U coming, we'll have another system that'll have unique features. What does PlayStation have?
They have the Vita, a thing that they practically ignored during their entire press conference and the show floor.
But they have exclusives.
Yes, they do.
Which I think is their saving grace. Is, you know, it used to be the 360 hall the exclusives. Now, not all of those were like paid for. Some of those were just, well, there's not enough market penetration on the PS3, so it's only on 360.
Yeah, they're still spending their money to make sure that they have, you know, first dibs on DLC for their system, but they can't technically say they have that many first-party IPs.
Yeah. But now we see Sony doing the same thing. Had exclusive DLC or timed DLC for several games in their presentation. Assassin's Creed 3, for instance.
Yeah. It's honestly a smart tactic. I don't like much of the business side of what that does to the overall artistic, you know, properties of these things, but when it comes to business, you get in first, and you'll grab all those first adopters.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, so why don't you tell me about some cool things you saw on the show floor that most people didn't get to hear about? You know, every year there's always some darling of the show. I think, let's see, 2 years ago it was Limbo. Last year, for our group, it was Skullgirls. So what were some of the darlings of the show that were not those big AAA titles anymore?
Well, I got a few of them. There's another game in the concept of hit. P-I-D. And
let us go to the bridge.
I think you're cutting it out a little bit. Hold on.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Okay.
Try it again.
Alright. Talking about kid.
Hey, my computer's doing a lot of stuff right now.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, there you go. I think you're good now.
Alrighty. Take 3. PID. P-I-D.
Okay.
It's basically a Limbo-like game, except the lights are on. You can see the kid. It's bright, it's colorful. I was told that they laid out the design of the game by taking paper cutouts and placing them around and moving them around, and that kind of aesthetic has carried forward. It's simple shapes, but they have some depth and shadows and stuff to go on. The thing is, you're a kid, you're in a space bus, you crash land on a weird planet full of robots, and you're trying to get home. Home, you find this little slingshot that allows you to shoot these, like, gravity wells that allow you to kind of hover and float within them, which allows you to, you know, you shoot it on a platform that pushes you higher than you could jump yourself. So it's your standard, you know, puzzle platformer. and I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's one of those games that needs a lot of support. These guys are self-publishing, just kind of rare. They are coming to Steam, coming to the PSN, they're coming to Xbox Live, but they said it's been a long road getting there. They are the same people behind Bionic Commando Rearmed and a few people from Mirror's Edge, and so there's some pedigree in there. And they kind of broke off and made their own development studio.
Sounds really cool. Of course, you're a big platformer fan, so...
Yeah, I cut my teeth on Mario and Kirby and whatnot, so...
Yeah.
Soft spot for those things. But, you know, if you enjoyed things like Braid and you enjoyed things like Limbo, I think PID's going to be something that's going to be one of those games that, you know, dark conspiracy storyline in the background, but fun, simple, but innovative, solving in the foreground.
Cool.
My bag is too heavy.
And so there's, of course, always game of the show stuff. And people can go read, but honestly, the only opinion I care about is yours. So what were some of your games of the show?
Games of the show? Well, I'd have to say that kind of the most fun I had was honestly with Rayman Legends. Wii U.
Okay.
You know, it's basically the same game as Rayman Origins. It looked better, but what they did is they actually innovated with the Wii U.
I think your sound cut in good again, buddy.
Yeah. Where'd you lose me?
Okay, you're good. They innovated, and then you cut out.
They really are the only ones I think that innovated with the Wii U, you know, gamepad tablet thing. The person playing with the touch screen, you're playing a little, you know, Firefly type dude.
I am losing strength.
But you're in charge of to get to the ropes. You'll have to rotate.
I lost you again. In charge of something.
I think the video is getting... Every time the video gets loud, I get drowned out a little. I think Diablo 3 is getting angry that I'm talking over it.
And in case people were wondering, this is early in the second act, right here. To the Sundering Waste or Sundering Deserts.
My bag is
I was
too
just playing
heavy.
through this last night. So.
Her bag's too heavy, though.
If the bag is too heavy, I was having to dump a lot of crap. So.
Her bags are heavy.
Well, I did pick a Demon Hunter after all. If I'm gonna watch somebody fight demons for like 50 hours, she might as well be hot. I'm sorry, was that sexist?
Yeah. So anyway, Nintendo. Rayman. Rayman Legends. No, I had a lot of fun. You have a surprising amount of stuff you do with the touch screen. You'll come upon like platforms that have to be lowered and raised. Yeah, you come upon ropes that have to be cut, and it's basically that quote-unquote girlfriend mode from Super Mario Galaxy, like ranked up to 11. It's constantly shifting. In the original game, you collect the lums, and you have to get the king lum to activate them into happy pink mode, which activates a multiplier. And in the tablet, you're the one that has to activate it. So you have to not only do all the stuff, you have to be aware of where that string of stuff is and where the other players are, and activate it so that they will, get more collectibles. It'll shift on the fly. You'll come to an entire area where all you're doing is you have a slingshot and you have to accurately flick it and get rid of enemies that Rayman and his, foot friends can't take care of. It was surprising how much I had to do as the gamepad player, knowing that if I screw up, he's gone. And because it's completely touchscreen based, I really think that it will give something for people who are kind of a little bit more used to iPad, iPhone playing. It'll kind of give them that bridge, and even though it's quote unquote, the girlfriend mode, it's really more of, people who are scared of buttons but want to play with you.
Girlfriend mode's not a bad thing.
I wish there was a better name for it. I don't like the, derogatory.
Like, make up a name for it. My non-gamer friends mode.
Finger warrior.
Yeah, that doesn't sound worse.
Yeah,
especially if we're talking girlfriends. Yeah. Yeah, I think more of them would be gamers if we had that. Anyway. So.
Well, before shifting the subject, another game that I want to mention that I think got completely ignored by frickin' Nintendo. I don't understand why they spent so much time talking about their Batman, their special edition of Batman. Great, fantastic. We get to play the game again. But it's currently called Project P100. It's made by the director is the same guy behind Okami, Beautiful Joe. It's like you are kind of controlling one guy, but swarming around you, at least in the demo, are dozens. And you're fighting off this alien menace, and that is why you have to combine all of these heroes. And you're attacking them, you're swarming around, and it's all bright, colorful, comic booky with a touch of that Beautiful Joe, stylized body type aesthetic. There are more powerful heroes within the gaggle of heroes you have, and you can activate super moves. On the gamepad, you'll powerful large fist thing, and you can, cross punch the ceiling head with his powerful fist.
Cutting out again there.
Yep, getting a little loud. Diablo does not like me talking. Basically, you have different gestures that you can do on the tablet touchscreen face that will activate different abilities from certain heroes. So, like a giant sword, a gun, other things to take care of the bigger robot that you're taking care of. And I had a lot of fun with that. It was a little bit goofy and a little bit corny, but that's what that developer and director are kind of known for. Devil May Cry kind of stuff. Just it doesn't really make sense. The freaking video game is supposed to be fun. But I had fun. I was like, this explains why I have to have a touchscreen. Yes, I could pause, and yes, I could activate a super move out of a menu, or I could make a quick slash up the middle of the touchscreen in the middle of a battle and produce a giant-ass blue sword and slice through everybody with a powerful move.
Nice.
And it keeps you in the motion, it keeps you in the thing. You can... Hell, you're going to have a lot more... So it's definitely something I'm really Nintendo didn't have it front and center. It's new, it's bold, it uses their tablet, it has great in it. I don't know.
I think maybe they were trying to sort of overcompensate for the 3DS mistakes and put all their first-party stuff right up front.
I guess, but on top of wanting to, put their first-party foot forward, they also have to remind everybody that they got third-party support. And showing us ports of year-old games is not going to cut it.
Right.
I'm not going to, I really doubt there's that many gamers out there that were really waiting for Nintendo to come out with a powerful enough console so they could finally play Mass Effect.
Or
Not any
Batman.
of Mass Effect, just the third version of the trilogy.
Oh man, it was. You didn't get to see, but right after Nintendo's presentation, Reggie Fils-Aimé went on Spike TV's, game trailers, little thing with Jeff Keighley, and Jeff Keighley was point blank like, "Do you really think anyone's gonna want to come out and buy Arkham City for the Wii U?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's this new experience with all these new features." He's like, "Yeah, but it's the same game." No, it's not the same game. It's like this back and forth of no, really. It's the same game. It's new stuff.
I'm not going to say that they're not going to sell a few copies. I'm sure there are plenty of people who, for whatever reason, haven't played the other games.
Freaks,
Maybe they're one of
Go
those
buy it.
Wii-only people, but...
It's on, like, everything.
I know. They exist. Just because I don't know any doesn't mean they don't exist.
I keep those people out of my life. You haven't played Batman? Go away. I don't need you. I have plenty of friends, and they all play Batman.
Caldeum seems a treacherous city.
Sorry, anyone who watches the show knows I'm a comic book nerd, plus video games.
Bring
Hello?
out the darkness within us,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah,
do not
yeah.
create it.
Yeah, you can pick my brain about anything. I played quite a bit of stuff on the floor. I don't know how much you want me to ramble on about.
Zombie U.
Zombie U.
Oh, hey, here you go. How about I run down a bunch of the sort of popular games? You give me a quick score out of 10. Alright?
Oh, okay.
Alright,
Lightning round.
Zombie U.
What?
Zombie U.
Zombie U. I'll give it an 8.
Nice. I'm having a brain fart. Borderlands 2, they have that there?
They had it there. Honestly, it's an 8.
Okay.
If you want me to explain that, I can.
Sure, because that to me would be a little low for Borderlands.
It kind of disappointed me. It basically feels like Borderlands 1.5. Like, it's snazzy, it has a few more tricks, but it's Borderlands all over again with a few bells and whistles and a few of the rough spots polished up. Nothing they showed proved to me that it was going to be anything more than a half step.
Okay. Last of Us.
Last of Us. Gotta give it a 9. It doesn't give it a perfect because something about it really didn't completely satisfy me. I don't like mindless violence as much as the next guy. So I really want to understand why during a zombie outbreak we are wantonly destroying the few humans that actually exist.
Well, see,
I know
saw
they're
that,
basically...
and I was sitting with someone who said, why would that happen? And it's like, well, it becomes survival mode. When you realize that shotgun might be the last shotgun. That can of beans could be the last can of beans. And so when you're in any sort of end of the world situation, that survival mode kicks in. And
I guess,
it's
but
like you've seen the Book of Eli. I've read. I haven't seen the movie, but I actually read the book The Road, which is where I like to make a comparison because that's an adult and his son traveling through the waste trying to survive, and so that's why I make that comparison. Now I don't know if they're related, if they've said that. The man and the girl, Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still get that relationship, that sort of fathering relationship, and the
there's a lot of good there.
Yeah.
A lot that I am hoping for. I guess, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I really kind of go back to Batman. In that situation, what the heck would Batman do? He wouldn't go around killing people for guns.
Most of us aren't
I mean,
Batman.
he can survive by taking their stuff and incapacitating them. He doesn't have to beat them senseless and then shoot them in the face when they're pleading for their life. That's
Then,
not
of course,
the kind of person I want to play as.
There's also the meta of that, which is the only thing you want to fight these crazy zombie things. I think by adding humans into it that you fight, you get more depth of battle, but also you can put characters in the bad guys too. The zombies have no character.
That's true.
That's
and
why,
again,
like, with The Walking
my
Dead, you
score
have to have...
is just what I have seen so far and what they have been nice enough to show me.
Right.
It doesn't mean that the final game isn't going to be amazing and answer all my problems and possibly give me some kind of a choice. But at this point in time, I don't want to play a guy who kills people just because he can or feels he has to.
Well, hopefully we'll get some more explanation.
Hopefully. Anyway.
Assassin's Creed 3.
That's my 10. That's a series that I just enjoy. It's like what if Mario met Zelda to me. Like, it's all about platforming and killing people and upgrading your arsenal. I mean,
And not tower defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, there was a cool thing that I read today, that there was an interview with, I can't remember the guy's, the French guy who's the head of all of Ubisoft. And he was saying...
Oh, French guy.
Yeah, French guy. Yves Guillemot or something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
I don't speak French. Great guy. Rich, makes awesome games.
Yes.
Just can't pronounce his name. That he was saying that Assassin's Creed 3 is possible because they've had yearly releases. Because it's not just one studio cranking out a game over and over. They actually have multiple development teams. They said AC3 has been under development for 3 years. And that's normally...
what excites me, and that's what you can really, really see. You can see
really
that...
expensive.
Yes.
And it's normally not possible except you're cranking out yearly games that are always bestsellers. And I was like, finally, there is a good reason for an annual release. Now, granted, we saw a degradation of the title. AC2 was great, Brotherhood was amazing, Revelations didn't live up to it.
Revelations was that kind of game that you kind of had to stop playing, or you wanted to... I had to stop playing it, or I would have hated the franchise. I just got to that point where I was like, I gotta stop because I love this thing too much to, abuse myself with this.
Amazingly, I still haven't played it. I went out and bought it on Black Friday. It's still in shrink wrap. It's problem with having
well, then it was meant to be.
It's problem with having too much going on in my life. Outside of games. I love games, and I gotta prioritize. Though I still haven't finished Mass Effect 3, and here at the beginning of Act 2 in Diablo 3. So last thing, about out of time here for what I budgeted. But some news came out today, so I thought, Matt, the Nintendo freak, I would surprise you with some question. It was Reggie Fils-Aimé was talking about the Wii U. He said, first off, they're not going to be forcing developers to put achievements in their games. And the second thing, which a little bit less of a point, is they were talking about they're going to improve the friend code system. But he still used the term friend code. What do you think about all that?
Well, they've already gone on record saying that they don't want achievements to be the only trophy that you take away from the experience. Like, they would rather you get something, be it meeting Yoshi at the top of the stupid castle after you get the 120 stars in Super Mario 64. That's the kind of thing they want to give you. They don't want to give you a little plink and you got a few points that nobody cares about but you. So it's good that they acknowledge that achievements are a thing that people like, and it's also kind of good that they're not going to force it on anybody. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, I guess. While some people might want to show off.
I'm totally wrong. You still have plenty of time. That's okay.
Yeah.
Continue!
Diablo doesn't like logic. What did you lose me?
I just forgot where I stopped recording last night, so I was like, oh no, we still got like 20 minutes. We're good. Just got started a little late. You were saying how they don't want just points for points' sake.
My pack is full.
Yeah, basically. They're basically saying, here's all the paints. Do what you want. If you want to use red, use red. Whatever, you don't have to use red. Some people like red, some people don't like red, some people can't even see red, so whatever. So they're basically being mellow about it. They're going to have a system in place. They're probably going to use it themselves, but they're not going to force that on anybody.
And they did say they want to have console achievements, like the 3DS does, with like coins and stuff.
Now that's the weird thing about it. I mean, I don't know how they would do that at this point in time unless they give you coins per time you have played. Because they do have a sort of achievement system in the 3DS in the concept of like when you play the Street Pass stuff, when you play Find Me, Find Me, and when you play the puzzle thing, you know, they'll give you an achievement for congratulations, you defeated an armored ghost, congratulations, you have gotten the same puzzle piece 5 times because of random purchases. And they'll give you a random, like, achievement, kind of.
Not be wise.
Does anything, but, you know. So hopefully it's a little bit more substantive than that. If that's what they think achievements are, then I can understand why they don't want to do them. But
yeah,
they're there.
I think it's a bad move, because I think already it allows people to play however they want, because you got games that do their achievements really well and ones that really don't. But I think having that sort of universal thing, it's sort of gamification of games. There's
something to be said for the meta of games. I mean, once you beat the boss, without a lot of achievements or trophies, what do?
Yeah.
It kind of gives you additional goals.
Right.
Which
Would I have
I
run
enjoy.
through Infamous twice? Once good, once evil, without trophies? Maybe. I enjoy trophies. I enjoy achievements. Not quite the hunter that I used to be. But I think it's a bad idea to not do that.
I don't think we're not going to see them a lot, though, because if, in truth, we're getting a lot of people who are going to be releasing titles on all 3 platforms now, then they've already got the achievements and trophies set up for the other platforms.
Yeah, for those, absolutely.
Something.
But I think for like first party or exclusives, that's where we're going to run into an issue.
Yeah. But Nintendo often speaks in riddles anyway, so you don't know what it actually means until it's too late.
Okay.
What was the other question again?
The other thing they said... Now it's escaping my brain. Yeah, I forgot now.
Riveting.
I know, right? Well, it kind of became moot the more people talked about it. Friend codes. They said they were going to make friend codes easier, but he was still using the term friend codes. And I'm like, well, that could just mean friend names. So, maybe.
Possibly. I think it might be similar to how they are using the 3DS, where you have one code that you send out, it's connected to a me, and so that once you connect to that one person, you can connect through any games with that one person.
Yeah.
I don't know why they are scared of screen names. I mean, humans are a lot better at memorizing a string of letters than they are at remembering a string of numbers, which is why people don't like friend codes.
It's because Nintendo pretends the internet does not exist.
And now they kind of pretend it exists, but they're kind of like a baby with a new rattle.
Right.
Like, the Wii
like, oh my god, it
is
scared me!
Like,
look at it, shiny!
You like Twitter, right? This is like Twitter, but with me. And that direct, that original special direct conference thing they did. I mean, honestly, is that what they think gamers are? A whiny doofus that if he can't beat a mini boss would rather Skype with his grandpa than go to a frickin' website and look it up?
Whose grandpa Skypes? Seriously.
Not just that, what grandpa Skypes while sitting on his rascal in the middle of his living room on his Wii U?
Oh my god!
What was that?
That's ageist. Except that he's on Skype.
It's not ageist, it's just logical. Who the heck sits in their rascal in the middle of their living room?
Where'd my damn couch go? Somebody robbed me, but they left my laptop and my rascal.
I mean, if anything, it's ageist on Nintendo's concept. Unless he's just proud of it and he's showing off his ride for the Wii Skype thing they're doing.
He just put 20s on it. Hey, Grandpa, he never gets off that damn thing.
Honestly, I think that's the main problem. I think you watch that original thing they put out before any of the conferences. If that is what they think gamers are, that's where the problem lies. Mm-hmm. We are not hipster-wearing douchebags who don't know how to use the internet, who talk to non-specific generic action figures, and put our entire heart and soul into whether or not sounds swishy.
Yeah, it does.
The most unstable of their kind,
Nice.
causing them to overproduce highly
Diablo 3's mean. It's
combustible
like,
in their abdomen.
you're dead! By the way,
Only
those
this
things blow up.
imbalance must be inevitably
Literally.
leaving the lunatic
I
to
killed him a lot.
and release their explosive bile in a
After I die,
terrible
this little
when
fallen
enemies
lunatic
come too
thing
near.
fires up that tells me, oh yeah, if they're swelling and glowing like that, they're gonna blow up. Oh, thanks, really.
Fun
That's
times.
what happened.
So, anything else you want to know? I got my hands on that new PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Played the new Marios.
Battle Royale, how was that? All Stars.
Yeah.
Oh no. And
I
this,
will fully say that I am a huge Smash Brothers fan.
yes.
It is a fighting game that I get. And I love how it can go from party to serious to competitive. It flows like that. Granted, we have only seen one mode and 8 characters so far in this game. They had a huge booth set up outside of the convention, a huge place set up near the Staples Convention Center. Anybody could come and play. And they let you come, play for a while, and they give you a free t-shirt afterwards.
Yeah, t-shirt.
Yeah, everybody needs more t-shirts. I played it. I got my hands on Nathan Drake, Big Daddy, Kratos. I basically played half the characters, except, didn't play half the Phil's the guy.
But it was just,
At this point in time, there doesn't seem to be much strategy. I mean, you can block, you can dodge, you have different moves you can do, but it's still that whole, you beat on somebody till you fill up a meter, and you can only take them out with special moves. And whoever kills the most people versus how many times they were killed at the end of time, that's the person who wins. So I don't know if we're just playing the time mode, if there's actually a stock mode, or some other mode that they want to show off.
will they even talk about a time frame for when this game might launch?
I believe it's coming out for the holiday. They announced there's going to be a Vita cross-platform play for it, but there's no solid release date yet.
Yeah.
And
Well.
at this point in time, I can tell that there are some characters that are just more powerful. I mean, Nathan Drake couldn't do anything against the Big Daddy. He could run around a lot. I mean, I could run around. I could summon a barrel and throw a barrel. That was fun.
So he's Donkey Kong?
Yeah. Nathan Drake is the new Donkey Kong.
That's a quotable thing right there. Did he get Nolan North?
I couldn't hear the sound that well, but I have to assume. I mean,
well, I wouldn't. But then again, he's in everything, so why not? Just have him voice all the characters. Got him in the studio. Here, just go. I'm sure he'd go, oh, good Big Daddy. Keep doing that.
I mean, it was fun taking Kratos and punching Sweet Tooth right in the face. And it was fun taking out a rocket launcher as Nathan Drake and shooting Sly in the face. But besides face combat, I mean, I didn't have a good feeling of who was winning and who was doing what, and, you know. At this point in time, it's probably too early to judge, but it didn't get me that excited. I hope I'm not being too biased towards Nintendo's little mascot brawler, but as much as I want to like this game, as much as I want to play a game like this that has good online support, HD visuals, it didn't turn my crank that much.
Just not there yet.
No. So it was kind of interesting, the whole t-shirt thing. By the time I got there, they were out of guys' sizes. All they had was lady sizes. So I contemplated, what am I going to get my lady? I briefly floated on the concept of getting a Fat Princess shirt. Don't think I could have sold that. I don't think I could have brought that home and be like, you know you're my Fat Princess.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't think that would have worked.
So I went with Sweet Tooth shirt instead. Because it just says Sweet Tooth on the front and Team Clown on the back. So,
well, at least
nice
Team Clown is on
mid-range
the back,
shirt
not
that
the
Sweet
front.
Tooth on the front. So, eh.
Hey, everybody watching Diablo 3 wig the heck out? Yeah, I did that. From this point forward, I started dying due to lag and nothing else. It sucked.
Lag death.
Yeah, in a single-player game.
Good times.
Mm-hmm. So I guess last thing I really want to talk about, which you have no basis for, but we'll get your opinion on it anyway. Pro gaming. I was just at the MLG Spring Championships over this last weekend, and I tell you what, man, that is a whole subculture of gamer that I had no fathoming. Like,
oh, they are quite serious.
Yeah, people show up with their keyboards and mouse pads and go around and get these pro gamer signatures, like you and I used to do at comic book conventions. Like, it's huge, and it is pretty cool to watch. Watching some of those high-level players, we watched. Now, I'll go ahead and tell the people, because also I know, Matt, you have no idea about any of this. Ashbaugh is like the huge, biggest Korean StarCraft organization for tournaments, and they had a licensing issue with Blizzard, so none of their players were allowed to play StarCraft 2 competitively. They've still been on Brood Wars, and if they had competed in StarCraft 2, they would have lost their pro gaming license. This has just been fixed, and Ashbaugh is teaming up with Major League Gaming, and so this was the first. It was an invitational exhibition tournament between the top 4 Ashbaugh players, and it was phenomenal and also really weird, because that was late Saturday night. And all day Friday and Saturday we've been seeing the current pros for StarCraft 2 and some of the meta and strategies they're using. And then this exhibition, well, first up, Flash, widely considered the best Brood War player of all time, cleaned house. Went completely undefeated. Didn't lose a match, didn't even lose a game. And using all these Brood War tactics in StarCraft 2. But then, yeah, watching some of those final matches, and the level of play, and I think half the enjoyment there is the casters. It's these people that they're not pro players, but they know the game backwards and forwards, and so they're color commentators. They're talking about all the action as it's going on, so they can help even someone like me. I am terrible at StarCraft. I cannot explain the depths of how horrible I am at StarCraft. And they make me understand it, and they make me excited to watch it.
Well, that's
really
good.
Cool. Yeah, that was really cool. And I was talking to he goes by Eldorian on Blizz Planet. I do a few shows for them, one for each of the Blizzard games, and he will frequently watch pro gaming stuff while he's playing something else. So he'll have StarCraft or Diablo or World of Warcraft on one screen, and he'll be live streaming some pro gaming on the others. And I could definitely see the attraction. It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean, while I was at E3, I did get a tour of the Turtle Beach booth. Those are the guys that do all the fancy headsets that are rather expensive. And they and they just announced their new 7 series that is focused on MLG stuff. And so they have special setups. They have a hand control that sits on your table that has all the presets and the volume control, so you don't have to go reaching around your ears for that kind of stuff. They're coming out with specialized audio mixers, so it is kind of going to be interesting. Stuff like that will make... It seems like they're dealing more with it and getting more presets and making it easier to record matches and get the proper audio syncing going.
Yeah, it's growing. It's huge. And what was funny is through most of the tournament, the League of Legends side, which was maybe a third of the size of the StarCraft 2 area, the main stage area, was louder. The League of Legends guys were louder than the StarCraft 2 people through most of the whole event.
Yeah, it's actually quite large, from what I understand.
And there's standing room, and while the matches take longer, the action is more intense because StarCraft 2 is more like chess, and it's maneuver, 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 and then big battle, and then maneuver, 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 and. Or if it's not like that, then it's a lot of harassment. So skirmish here, skirmish there, skirmish here, skirmish there. Whereas League of Legends is teams of 5 that just come together and then they separate and they come back together. And so I think it's much more action intensive. And plus it's a team sport, so there's always that. That's going to add something to it. I'll be curious to see. Pardon?
I do hope more Americans and Western audience people in general get into it more. I know it's big. The popular stereotype is it's huge in Korea, but
it is huge in Korea.
I would like to see it grow a little bit more over here, in at least the hope to end some of the still surprisingly existing negative gamer stereotypes that exist out there.
Yeah, I believe the highest placed foreigner, which is the term they use for non-Koreans. I believe Stefano placed 4th. But the main event took place between players Alicia and DRG, Dom Rigu, both Koreans. So yeah, the Koreans are still dominant, but the Westerners are coming into it more and more. And we actually did some interviews with guys, and we were talking to them about all this, and they said a lot of it is in Korea. These guys, these teams, have team houses, and the teams will support them completely, financially and in other ways, and so it's all they do. And the Korean public looks at Major League Gaming the way we look at national football. I mean, it's huge, and it's completely legitimate. But it's definitely growing. There have been more and more Westerners getting a little further and a little further. Currently, Stefano is probably one of the best foreigners. He's French, but he has a habit of destroying it in pool play and then totally choking when it comes to the bracket. He did that again at the Spring Championships. He was completely undefeated in pool play. Lost to Marine King in his first bracket. Next bracket, he lost. Well, he basically lost from there on out. So he got through pool play undefeated and then just couldn't do it. So. But then, yeah, there's League of Legends, and I know Dota's fairly competitive. I'll be curious to see what happens when Blizzard All-Stars comes out, formerly known as Blizzard Dota. Blizzard All-Stars comes out. That should be pretty huge. And I know a little piece of information for people here, because we were talking to some Blizzard people. They are building Blizzard All-Stars with pro gaming in mind, with esports in mind. So that should be huge.
That'll help.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that about does it for our first live stream podcast episode thing. And it's been awesome. It's been fun. And look forward to more of these. Once a week, planning to do these podcast live streams with a different guest. So thanks, Matt of Steel, for joining me. Anything you want to plug while you're here?
I am well.
Read my articles on GamerReview.com.
There you go. Look for Matt Ashbaugh. Got any big reviews coming up?
Coming up, no. I'm actually going to unwind by leaving the country for a little bit.
That's true. And July sucks for releases anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be Summer of Arcade, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Only demons could live
Thank
out
God for
here.
Summer of Arcade. All right, Matt, well, thanks for joining me and everybody who's watching, and I'm going to be throwing this up on YouTube. Be sure to check out, of course, BeardGamerShow.com. You can follow me on Beard Gamer Show on Twitter. Also, of course, have a Facebook fan page as well. You know, I'm all over the place. And, of course, my YouTube channel. Just search Beard Gamer Show. And we'll see you guys next week.